Hey, Jamar, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, I got you loud and clear. Just give me 2 seconds. We're getting right. Good timing, I swear. Usually I start right on the dot. I apologize for being a little late.
No, looks like it's right at 3, right on the dot right now.
That's it. Yep. All right, there's drones everywhere, driving off-road in disaster areas all day, impromptu. We had a tornado touchdown yesterday in North Carolina, and we got the call yesterday and earlier today to head out there and help out. So we're doing some mapping missions and panoramas for them. Where are we at? I'm still attached to that. On an iPad too. Wasn't supposed to be mobile. But hello everybody. Welcome back to Vets to Drones. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good week. Looks like we have some good folks on here. As I said in the webinar, I'm more than pleased to introduce Jamar Williams to the webinar today. Jamar is the CEO of PromoDrone, one of our first and early partners for the Vets to Drones program. And he has an excellent product that's just coming into the market that we all want to tell you about today. So we're excited to tell you about PromoDrone, the Starling X.2. And we're excited to have Jamar on the show just to talk more about the drone industry in general. And of course, the exciting announcements he has just this past week. So without further ado, I'll let Jamar kind of tell you all about himself a bit. And I'm going to figure out how to get on some Wi-Fi.
Nice. Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate the intro. Hello, all the folks out there in Vets to Drones. I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing. And kudos to you, Chris, just for what you've put together in order to empower veterans with these new career opportunities in drones. I remember when I first started flying about, I guess, almost 10 years ago now, they were still foreign objects, so to speak. They were more like UFOs kind of in those days. And that was really kind of how PromoDrone was born. It was, understanding that people weren't as comfortable with the technology, and most of drone operations tend to be clandestine surveillance or, reconnaissance type operations. And people would come out of their house literally threaten to shoot my drone down or telling me to stop spying on their wife and all of those kinds of things, right? And I'm just there to film a real estate project. So it was kind of, self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak, to create something that would let people know that, hey, I'm there to do work. And what would happen if you put a sign on a drone in order to just announce? So instead of kind of being behind the scenes, being a lot more transparent as to, who's operating a drone, why it's in the air. And that's kind of how PromoDrone was born, like taking the concept of signage, putting it in the air and let people know who's doing the work, so to speak. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's huge. I mean, that's one of the big issues in the industry, and why we have our organization here right now is to advocate for this technology so people have a better understanding. I don't know if anybody on here has recently watched Netflix, but they just had a documentary come out called Killer Robots. I was going to put it in this email as homework, but I'll put it in the Slack, and I'll put it in next week's email just to check out, because it's pretty incredible the perspective that people are getting on this industry versus it being the amazing industry that we know it to be from working within it. This technology is here for a good reason and can be used for good, like the work we were doing today for natural disaster response, the work Jamar is doing to get the word out and do notifications during disaster incidents and public safety incidents as well. It's really good. I mean, it's a perfect placement for your product to really not only be used for marketing, but also give people that warm and fuzzy feelings about this technology.
Exactly. Yeah. So, when I realized that people were taking time out to actually engage with the drone, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm like, hey, if you're taking time out of Facebook, Instagram, and using your cell phone to look at my drone, your cell phone's literally the gateway to social media, things connecting you to the whole world at your hip with that thing, right? So I figured at that time I didn't quite understand what impressions were or engagement or conversions, but I just knew I had the power of compulsion that people would look at the drone. Fast forward several years with our release of the Starlink X.2, we were able to partner with Dragonfly, very well-known and respected global drone manufacturing, drone solutions partner, have been great partners with us where we're using their Commander 3 XL platform. So it's industrial grade, enterprise level solution that's able to lift slightly heavier payloads. And it's the perfect Swiss Army knife of drones, format for our concept. So we started in advertising and marketing, really doing events, et cetera, but we realized how important it was for public safety, emergency messaging, and emergency response, where a missing person goes missing. Now you've got a way to alert the community in a very visually appealing and engaging way. Disaster warnings on impending wildfires, floods, earthquakes, anything that can help support the current systems. We're not here to replace anything. We're here to kind of enhance and be an additional tool that first responders can use to get the word out. Anything that helps save a life, give people more access to information in a way that's going to improve a situation and mitigate and de-risk a situation, because we know time is of the essence. When there's heightened emotional states, things can go wrong. So if you can be prepared, that helps eliminate some of those situations which make operations go a lot smoother. So we are an aerial LED signage on a drone. So take the concept of a Vegas billboard. There's an ultra bright LED panel that's on a drone that can be seen from, hundreds of feet away. And it can be used to take not only to push information, but also through the use of things like QR codes. You can scan it with your cell phone. It takes you to information portals where you can get a lot more information that we can never be able to put on a drone, but you can have a website that gives more information, more detailed instructions, or engage someone in a more effective way for consumer opportunity, raffle prizes, gamify, whatever you may think of. So we're excited not only about our tech, but how it empowers our users to become literal entrepreneurs, right? We look at it as a business in a box solution where anyone who owns our drone system, it's not just for warm and fuzzies and to have fun, but it's something that can be monetized. When you think of the world of marketing, promotions, outdoor events, there's big spends for the likes of Super Bowl, Coachella, festivals, NASCAR, NBA, MLB, you name it. There's always some sort of sponsorship. There's always some sort of fan engagement, fan-centric. And these agencies are always looking for the something that's going to inspire consumers to have a better experience, remember a brand, take additional steps to engage. And our drone does exactly that. So we're excited to be partnering with Vets to Drones to put these drones in the hands of our veteran partners so that they can become the workforce for this, right? Like we make the hardware and give you the opportunity to be the entrepreneurs in the business all in one. So we're excited about our brand partnerships that we're forming with the ability to soon to be able to not only sell the drones, but start connecting them with brands in our network that are looking for pilots with this technology to fly some of the biggest and best events throughout our entire country. So there's a lot of upsides to it. I'm not here to sell it, just here to kind of educate people on why it's exciting and let them do their own discovery and research, and happy to help answer any questions.
That's perfect right there. Yeah, that's one of our key components to our organization is helping veterans start their own businesses in their own right, work for themselves by using these tools that happen to fly and collect data or fly and display data to the public. So that's perfect. It's right in line with our values. And Jamar, from day one when we first met, year or two ago, however long it's been now, we had a good feeling about how everything was working out. And it's really ideal for our program. So I'm sure there are several veterans in the group that are interested in hearing more. Let's see if we have any new faces first. We usually reach out and say hello. Oh, everybody here is a return visitor. It's good to see everybody today. That is excellent. Well, we are going to push right along. And I did skip over some announcements. I'm going to push right along, keep going. So Jamar, why don't you tell us a bit about how you first got into the drone industry? Most of the people in our organization are fairly new. They're either just got their Part 107 or they're working towards it. Could you kind of give us some background on your experience in the drone industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Very much like probably a lot of the people on this call, I didn't have an aviation background, right? Like I come from a banking and music industry. I was in sunny San Diego and was actually pursuing a career in music when an ex-business partner of mine said, hey, you want to help me build a drone? right? And I was like, what? I had no idea what a drone was. This was probably 2014 at this point, so almost 9 years ago, right? And they said, yeah, there's this company called DJI, and I didn't know what DJI was, right? He said, yeah, but we have to order all the parts. So I'm kind of dating myself, right? The early days of drones, they didn't have all these off-the-shelf solutions like the Inspire and the Phantom and the Mavic and all these drones. It took them a while to get their company to a point where they had these things. Initially, we had, I think it was the F550 drone where it came semi-assembled, and you have to get all the rest of the parts in a box. So you have to solder your own rotors. You have to calibrate your own rotors. You're literally constructing the drone. So I was just fascinated by the technology. I thought that anything that would keep me from having to have a boss, I was in line for that. I had lost my career in banking during that whole banking fallout. And I said, I just want to be empowered with something that would give me an opportunity to have a future for myself and have my own destiny in my own hands. And I just so happened to be at this intersection of this new drone technology. Never in a million years thought that it would take me this far in terms of what we've been able to do. But curiosity got me in the game. I didn't have a Vets to Drones to say, hey, let me teach you about what this was. When I first started flying drones, there was no Part 107. There were no regulations around what you need to do to get certified. I think at that time it was just the Part 333 exemption, and that was still confusing as to what you would need to do to even fly a drone, right? So it took us about a year and a half to get all the parts. That's how back ordered they were, right? Good sign for them because they had a lot of customer interest. Took us about 18 months to get all the parts. We built it, and we were one of the first companies in San Diego to start doing real estate. This is pre-PromoDrone. This is one of my other companies at the time, and we started flying real estate videos for luxury properties in San Diego. Then we et cetera. And then the Inspire came out. So I bought an Inspire through the company. And our very first attempt at flying a banner on a drone, now we look at all these digital displays, and we've got Wi-Fi, LTE, we've got all this data capture AI that we're building into it. Our very first banner was literally a laminated banner with clothespins and yarn, right? So like, the old school, when you went to school, your teacher would have the laminated cards. I don't know if they have those now, but when I was a kid, everything was laminated, right? Like in shiny plastic, wax looking plastic. But that's what our first banner was. It literally had two holes punched into the top of it with a hole puncher. Had literal clothespins, wooden clothespins with yarn strapped to the bottom of the Inspire drone, like flying at a networking event off the top of the Hard Rock Hotel downtown San Diego. Right? So like that. None of that sounds operationally sound today, but that was prior. That was still the Wild Wild West, right? Before everything became solidified. So our first banner, it did what you would expect a laminated banner with clothespins to do. Like that wind hit that thing and it just bustled all around and flew right off of the drone, and it landed on top of the Hard Rock, where it's probably still there to this day, as a kind of testimonial to our experimentation, so to speak. So I got into drones mostly out of curiosity, looking for a way to create a future for myself, and just sticking with it has enabled me to come, here we are, almost 10 years later, and I've got a second company, and we've partnered with Dragonfly, and we've released the world's first digital LED display signage, that can scale. So it's definitely been an exciting journey, but, humble beginnings for sure.
And that is a beautiful story of entrepreneurship and innovation right there. See, that just goes to show you, folks, innovation isn't always pretty.
That's for sure.
His idea may have been to have PromoDrone as it is today at some point, but that first time he took an Inspire 1, hooked it up with a laminated poster board, and put it with clothespins to get the job done. That's wonderful right there. I tell you what, that Inspire 1 is a beast of a drone too. I can't tell you how many different rigs I've seen, either 3D printed or some kind of strange kind of attachment to get that Inspire 1 to do the jobs needed. It's really, really an incredible time in the industry when that bird was flying around. Now everything's fresh out of the box, and now you've created one for us all to use, which is, I think, even more incredible to see how far we've come in such short amount of time. It's really great to see what's happening in this industry, and with technology in general. So, Jamar, where do you see the future of PromoDrone? What do you see coming next with what you got going on?
I think what we're most excited about, besides just the technology and all the ways it can have global impact, we're looking to help save lives with this thing. If we can save one life with this, we've achieved our goal, right? Like ultimately, like a human life is worth more than anything that we're building. So, to be able to have impact in the public safety sector and the community awareness sector is awesome. But I think that in parallel to that, it's the job creation side of it. Like what really excites me is having drones are taking me around the world. They've given me an opportunity to see things I never thought I would see, especially in an industry that was in its infancy when I first really started. Right now, to see how far it's come. So to be able to say, hey, we're building something that we can give you the blueprint, right? Like sometimes the hardest thing about moving forward in life is having access to resources, access to the tools, and access to the right connections and information that's going to help you take your life to the next step. Part of my personal mission and the mission of PromoDrone is to take all of the, a lot of the things we've learned and made successful in ourselves, package it up and give it away as part of this solution, part of this box to stuff approach. So when you have a PromoDrone unit, you're not just getting a flying LED screen, you're getting insights into how to monetize this thing. All the things that I've learned over the last 7 years on flying drones as a service. Now that we're a hardware company, we started as a service-based company, figuring out how to go to events and be put on their inventory so that people will buy higher paid sponsorship packages. And now you're flying your drone, making hundreds to thousands of dollars a day with no post-production, right? Where you don't have to edit photos or edit video. You're literally, once the drone lands, the job's done and you get paid for it, right? And you can get paid in its scales based on the level of the event or how much sponsors are paying, right? So you're able to really command your own economic situation. And because it's a qualifying skill set, you're like a doctor, like a lawyer, but just in drone technology, right? Like not everybody can just pick up a drone and go out and do this. You have to be trained. You have to have access to the tools and the technology. You have to be proficient in order to carry out literally an operation, right? Like doctors do operations, right? Kind of deal, right? Just a different type. So what we're excited about is the opportunity that this creates for other people, like really giving them the keys to the kingdom to some degree. So you're not starting at zero. A lot of the challenges and stresses, like learning about laminated poster board, and you don't have to do that now, right? Like we're giving you something that's proficient, something that's operationally sound, and we're giving you insights on how to monetize it and make it a business. So I think that's what's most exciting, our ability to connect with veterans, non-veterans, everybody in between, and give them the keys to their own kingdom so that they can go out and create the life they want for themselves, whether it's as an entrepreneur where you're owning our platform and you're monetizing it by becoming a business leader in your community, or being contracted to somebody else that owns it and now you're an a la carte pilot for them, because a lot of our customers are not only just the own operators that are pilots. Sometimes there are agencies that want to own the tech as an inventory asset, but they don't want to handle the pilot operations. So they'll be looking to hire pilots that can be trained up on the system and then come in a la carte to be their go-to contracted pilots for some of these big brand experiences. So we give you the insights on how to make use of that. So I think that's really what empowers us the most, is our ability to give back and help other people achieve the kinds of things that we've started to see.
Well, you've come to the right place. We have a roster of folks that are very interested in this technology, and this sounds like an excellent opportunity for anybody that's interested in making money with their drone as their own business. I don't know if there's a better opportunity on the market than this. And it's funny you mentioned the lack of necessity for the post-processing. As I'm driving around with multiple drones hooked into this iPad that I'm having used as a webinar, and I'm trying to send data back to Raleigh for the news, which should be airing right about now. So dealing with that right now in this moment, and you're like, hey, no more post-processing. I was like, that is excellent. I can't tell you how many problems that's caused in the past, whether you're doing telecom and trying to find a Wi-Fi hotspot, or Airbnb that actually has Wi-Fi higher than 2 gigs a year or whatever. That's a huge point as well. It's a very exciting platform. I'm excited to fly it. I'll tell you what. It'd be great to get together sometime and go for a flight. Don't we have some plans for that coming up?
Yeah, CUAV. I think we're going to get together at the commercial UAV Expo in Vegas in about just a little over a month and a half, and get you on those sticks, get some flight time, let you check it out.
Excellent. That sounds like a great time to me. We'll definitely be out there, and find a good place to fly. You know, Vegas is kind of weird with the downtown stuff for now. But that's another good point, though. What do you see? How do you see gaining access to certain like restricted airspace moving forward, since you're flying in highly populated areas? You're looking for waivers, or is that going to be? You think that'll be included with the package, or do the pilots need to find their individual waivers?
Yeah, it's no different than any other drone. So this is a Part 107. Yeah, for some reason I wasn't as a panelist before, so I wasn't able to be seen. But this is a Part 107 compliant product, right? So it's under 55 pounds, same rules of the road for any other drone system that applies to Part 107. And for a lot of the event operations, it doesn't require you to fly over people to do the operation successfully, right? So what we do is we fly offset 45-degree angles typically. So you're talking about over water spaces, over landscape, shrubbery, green space, off the walk path in these areas where there's not a lot of foot traffic. And at 99% of events, there's always some space where you can have this thing operate and still be super effective while remaining compliant at the same time. Obviously, as the drone industry continues to evolve, as the waiver process becomes clearer, BB laws, as well as flying over people, you know, the cool thing is we're trending in the right direction from a regulatory support standpoint, right? When we first started, they were like shotgun approach. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, right? And that's understandable because you have these new technologies with aircraft, and the most important thing is human safety first, right? And nothing has seniority over passenger planes and things that are carrying hundreds of live people, you know, in the air. So they want to make sure first and foremost that won't be disrupted. So now that they understand that and these technology is proven safe, rigorous, and they're starting to put protocols around it, it's trending in a direction where you'll be able to do more and more, you know, with the drones over time. So right now, just think whatever you can do with a normal, you know, DJI drone, there's no difference just because we have a screen on ours, just because ours is a little bit bigger. We're still under 55 pounds, and the FAA doesn't say, well, if you're 40 pounds or if you're, you know, 10 pounds, there's a difference. It's just if you're, you know, over a half, you know, 0.055 pounds and under 55 pounds, it's all the same, you know, classification. So we fall within that. We fall right within that.
That makes everything super simple, and it's a brilliant product management skill on your part to make sure that all that was achieved. Makes it really easy for anybody with Part 107 to pick it up, as long as they have the right training and background, of course. But that's huge. You know, we've talked in the past about the types of events that we see PromoDrone being used at. You kind of want to go through a list of that. What are you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, without kind of letting the cat out of the bag, because we have some conversations happening, but just think professional sports, you know, everything that comes to mind when you think of professional sports. So that's anything from the NFL to NBA to Major League Baseball, soccer. You know, we just got one of the biggest soccer players in the world is in Miami now. Yeah, Messi. So think of NASCAR, think racing, think anything outdoor adventure, you know, this can be a part of it. And what's so appealing about this product to a lot of them, beyond just the sponsorships and the fan-centric nature of it, it's the broadcasting opportunities, because you can live stream to and from this drone, right? So not only can the drone live stream real time, fans looking at it, engaging with it, but you can use this as part of your simulcast broadcast televised situation. So whatever's on the Jumbotron, whatever's airing on your local television stations, this drone can become part of that broadcast solution at the same time. So it's got so many lanes that this can operate in that would support the reason why a brand, a venue would want to invest in this type of technology. It's been amazing.
That's huge. Man, I am excited for this, man. I'm really excited to see it fly in person. I did put the test flight video from, was it Montreal?
No, Vancouver,
that you sent over. I put that in the email, so most of the folks on the webinar right now should have seen that test flight video over this past week as we've been coming up to this webinar. It looks incredible, man. I'll tell you what.
Thank you so much for your support.
Oh yeah, and Jamar, of course. Dragonfly is a huge industry partner or industry player, and it's really incredible to see that you were able to partner with them. How did that relationship build? How did you meet with Cameron and get things moving?
Yeah, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Dragonfly because, they took a risk with us, right? Like it's new tech. They've got an established name brand. We're an early stage company with something that's never been proven in the market. And, with risk comes reward, right? So, we met in Las Vegas. Actually, I think it was commercial UAV. Oh, no, it was actually CES. It was CES that we met in 2022, the top of 2022. And we were invited there by Dawn's Old Eyes. We all know she's one of the most recognizable faces in the drone industry, very well respected. She's literally earned my heart with all the support and just, but she's been the catalyst of so many positive things that have happened at PromoDrone. So really have to give a lot of props to Dawn and for being just as active and being such a voice in the industry, because it was her who invited us, PromoDrone, to be a part of this CES experience. And I don't know if you all know, but there's kind of two sides to CES. There's the consumer entertainment side of a showcase, right? That's CES. But there's also kind of like a government CES that happens simultaneously in other buildings. So if you're invited to those talks, it's like, CES, we're looking at things that the public will be exposed to. Government CES are things that the government entities will more likely be exposed to. So we were invited to be a part of that conference. And at that time, all we had was our static banner that we had on the M600, and we had an alpha prototype that we had built during COVID. We used some COVID stimulus funding for businesses to build an alpha prototype just to start to debut the concept. And we had it on stage, at the Dolby Live Theater in front of, a couple hundred public safety, government officials, et cetera. And on that same stage was when I first met Dragonfly. I never even had really heard of Dragonfly that much before that. And I got a chance to meet Cam. I got a chance to meet Paul, their COO, Paul Mullen. And they were just impressed by just the alpha prototype. They thought that was like a Verizon product, but that was done by a local team of engineers here in San Diego. And that just piqued their curiosity when I really told them what we were trying to accomplish with the technology from a marketing standpoint. And at this point, we hadn't even gotten into public safety. We were still pretty much 100% advertising, marketing, and promotion, because that's where my experience was up until that point. And I think that was like January of 2022. And about March, we had started exploring a partnership. And by November, once all the, legal stuff was done for understanding how we could work together, we had a contract signed in November, and production in November of 2022. And by January of 2023, this year, production started. And here we are in July and have our first unit.
That is huge. That is a wonderful story to follow right there. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I didn't know about Dragonfly. It's a funny story for me. I went to school at NC State, and I saw this box sitting in the office I was using, and I didn't know what it was at the time. This was years ago, before I was in the industry, but I saw it said Dragonfly on it. So then years later, fast forward to maybe two or 3 years ago, come by and that box is still sitting there. Now I know what it is, though. I'll read the side. It says, I think it was 16 M600 batteries. I'm like, whoa, that's like how much is that? $6,000 box?
Yeah, basically, yeah, close to it.
And I'm like, what in the world is going on? All right, who's this company? And that's when I researched Cam Michelle, found out who he was. I got lucky enough to meet him with you as well, of course. But got lucky enough to meet him at Commercial AV last year. Great guy, great program he's running. It's really incredible to see his how long he's been in this industry and in business. It's very impressive. So I don't think he could have found a more powerful partner. I think he did a great job in that respect. And I'm excited to see that the drone that you're using for PromoDrone, see it fly and be in action. I'll tell you what, it's if you folks don't know, the Commander 3XL is also being used as a delivery drone for medical supplies in Ukraine. Dragonfly calls it the Swiss Army knife of drones, and Jamar has really pushed that term to the limit right there. And he said, "Hey, Swiss Army knife. All right, I'm going to use it for exactly what it needs to be used for." And I'll tell you what, man, I'm very impressed. It's good work.
Yeah, they're excellent partners, and not only are they great manufacturing and supply partners, but marketing, advocacy, just everything that comes along with making something successful. They're checking all the boxes in all the right ways, right? So I'm looking forward to doing more work with them. We're in it to win it together. and we're nothing without, good people at the end that are operators, pilots, and customers who want to use the drones in really good ways. So we're all very just thankful that we have a really good industry that we're a part of, right? It's not every day you get to be a part of like a burgeoning industry that hasn't quite had its feet, like we're at the early days of automobiles kind of deal, right? Where we're actually being a part of these solutions that are being created for like, that'll be around hopefully indefinitely, right? So very grateful, very, very humbled and appreciative that we have partners, like I said, Vesta Drones, that we've been able to forge this alliance so that we can bring some of what we've done to your network, and then have your network, empower our product by actually being the operators and purveyors of our tech and doing the right things with it. So
that's great. Absolutely. You hit on automobiles. It's funny. You mentioned the early stage of DJI where they're sending out the kits, and it's like, that was like the early Model A, they were sending out in boxes. You had to go find a way to pick it up or get it shipped to your farm. Right.
Yep.
And now that you have PromoDrone, the Starlink X2, that's like having a brand new Cobra Mustang compared to a box kit, or a drone that came in a kit, man. It's really incredible to see how fast that's going.
But it's also relative, right? Like I love it because, like, yes, it's very advanced, but it's advanced for today, right? Like, so, our goal is not to be satiated with how good it is today, but to constantly improve upon it, to constantly keep it pushing the envelope, right? Because in 10, 15 years, we'll look back at this particular version and be like, that was awesome for the time, but now look at where we are with our tech, right? It's always going to continue to be that kind of story. So I think part of our passion is not only being creators and developing things, but also continuing to develop and innovate and having that be a part of our DNA.
Huge. Well, if you came from that, I think that's a huge thing to hold on to, and very necessary for this industry in particular. It moves so fast. The tech is constantly changing. So that's a great point. But you did mention earlier about having incredible people fly your drones. So I think it's time for us to kind of introduce you to some of those incredible people. So Andrew Cases, you're the host right now. Can you open up some of the microphones, and can anybody with any questions for Jamar or myself raise your hand or speak up in the chat, and let's go ahead and answer some questions. Does anybody have anything for Jamar off the top of their head about PromoDrone and the platform he's created for us all, or the opportunity as a business? That's probably the biggest question for most of us.
Andrew, the chat's still disabled.
Thanks, Mike.
Looks like James has his hand up.
Yeah, we have a James Alexander. What you got going on, James? James is a great buddy of mine. He's awesome.
Looks like he might be muted, guys.
Okay, I'm good now. Hey, thank you for that, Jamar. I watched the little release you did with the X2 the other day, and I was very impressive. So what have been your biggest challenges as you got up and going? And even right now, what challenges are you still running into that still need to be overcome? What friction points, are you still navigating?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the challenges have changed, they evolve as you kind of climb one mountain, another mountain kind of happens. So we just kind of finished one mountain with just getting to a point of going from a concept ideation, sticking it through. It took me 7 years from when I initially founded the company to get to a point where we're able to even release a video of a working prototype, right? Like we still have to now go towards commercial release. What you saw, though it's very much polished, it's still a prototype. So our goal is to have the units ready in a commercial state by 2024. So there's still a lot of processes we have to figure out. There's still a lot of supply chain management things we have to figure out. Everything that goes into making a product safe, deliverable, something that when you pick it up, you'll be able to understand how to use it and is going to accomplish the mission that we have designated for it to do. So initially the challenge was just getting believers to be behind it, right? And that comes with tenacity, sticking with it, having an idea that people can see, and really having the passion to be able to explain and articulate your vision. Even when somebody says, no, they don't get it, you go back, you learn how to rephrase it, how to articulate it in different ways and really find your value props. And what I would recommend to anybody that's a burgeoning entrepreneur looking to get into this space, find mentors, be parts of cohorts, accelerator programs, things that will help teach you aspects of running and growing a business that may not come natural or be inherent to your world. You may not come from a family full of business owners. I'm the first in my family to ever really achieve this level of kind of camaraderie and success with the business. So I didn't have any blueprints, family-owned businesses to kind of tap into to learn how to run a business. So I was fortunate enough to link up with local business accelerators, business programs. They gave me a lot of the mentorship at no cost, right? So I had to look for a bunch of no-cost opportunities to help me get the information. How they say knowledge is power, right? So initially ideation, always funding, right? It's always tough because everything's costs money. So having a lean mindset, one of the things that I learned early was just how to do minimum viable products, right? Like don't go for what you think is the ultimate solution. You can waste a lot of money doing that. Look for the minimum, solution viable to get people's attention, to get them interested in what you're doing. Take their feedback, listen to it, improve upon it, and then continually innovate until you get to a point where you have something that's ready to be released in a fully functioning state. So early on, it was really getting all those things to come together. The next phase now is obviously we have something, it's scaling it to commercial and getting customers on board, really helping customers see the value and the opportunity of what we've built, helping them really see how this isn't just made for us to feel cool. This is something that's designed to empower you all with opportunities to monetize it and make money. You can make tens of thousands of dollars a day with sponsors. Like just to give you an idea of some of the monetization opportunities, you do a festival like the Coachella or a major event and you get 10 sponsors, right? Like there's literally hundreds of sponsors at these different types of events. You get just 10 of them and they all pay you $1,500 to fly 3 30-minute flights per day, right? $500 for each 30 minutes. That's 15 grand. You just made that day off of 90 minutes worth of flight time. But the level of engagement, the ROI for them is the fanfare, the conversions, the engagement, all the things that come with that. You're not asking one sponsor to spend $15K, but they could if they wanted to exclusivize it, right? If Pepsi wants to own this experience across 3 or 4 drones at a major golf tournament or something like that, for them, 30 grand is a drop in a bucket per day when they're paying $1 million to be a sponsor of some golf classic, charity classic, right? Or more, right? These companies have hundreds of billions of dollars in marketing budget, So that's what we're most excited about. And like I mentioned earlier, we want to give you kind of the keys to the kingdom. So a lot of those early challenges was figuring out how to monetize it, what to charge. We're kind of going to give you the insights to that, right? So when I first started, I didn't know how to go about pricing a flight for a customer at an event. I didn't know what they charge comparative to that. I didn't know, how that worked. So it took me time to figure out how to price it, how to have my pricing scale with their pricing, et cetera, so that I'm not leaving money on the table and I'm not getting priced out. So yeah, I know it's kind of a long-winded roundabout, probably tap into a bunch of different buckets at once, but that's kind of what the landscape's looking like and how it's looked in the past.
Thank you, Jamar. It's very, I wish you continued success. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Jamar, this is a great insight. I tell you what, similar path for me, trying to get those free programs and accelerators. That's been monumental to success. Just learning from people that have been there, done that. That's a great point, and that's something that everybody in this group should follow, especially if you're trying to start your own business. Ron, you had a question? Ron, can you hear me from under the water? He's a submarine veteran.
Awesome. Thank you for your service to everyone on this call.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Where did Ron go?
Well, we can come back if he's not available. Looks like Joseph has his hand up as well.
Joe, what do you got?
My question concerns some of the limits. What's the maximum wind speed? How about rain, things like that, night operations, things that you have to normally take into consideration.
Yeah, thanks for that. So the Commander 3 XL by itself is a more weather-resistant drone than the standard drone. We'll have the final specs coming out for the commercial release, but they will be IP rated for wind and moisture as well. So not torrential rains or sideways rain, but definitely light precipitation, et cetera. You'll still be able to operate your drone. They will be having some sort of fiberglass cover on the screens that we're experimenting with that will allow for the in the digital display enclosure to have an equal rating to the drone. So you won't have to worry about any downtime with that. The cool thing about how we designed the displays, how they're oriented on the drone and the lift capacity of the drone is why we went with the Commander 3 XL. So the fact that when you look at the two back-to-back displays for our dual display, we're going to have two configurations, a single display and a dual display configuration. The dual display configuration, both of them will have it, but speaking specifically about the one you've seen, there's a wind tunnel in between, right? There's a gap between both monitors, which allows airflow, which adds stability to it. And when you talk about some of those challenges we had earlier, James was asking, one of the biggest challenges when we first started out was like, how do you make something not be a sail on a drone that would like, right? So it's taken me years to get this thing figured out with where to place the orientation of the displays, how to create wind tunnels on it, etc. They're also ultralight. So the entire payload right now in its current design is only 17 pounds for both of those monitors. So we've got two 28-inch displays on there with full computational circuitry and everything, and it weighs less than 20 pounds, for a payload. So we're not putting any undue strain on the drone. We're well within the operating capacity of a drone that's designed to carry payloads. So we'll have the final specs in terms of wind, but we've flown it in upwards over 15 mile per hour winds, and it's locked in there. That GPS, to keep that thing, it's just locked in place, right? Non-GPS, you have to counter for it like you would any other drone, in that regard. But yeah, it's not offsetting the flight characteristics in any significantly noticeable way. So you'll feel very comfortable flying this drone with that payload.
Okay. And my other question is verification on the advertiser's end. The little bit that I know about TV is they have people who are paid to monitor that their commercials run. And, there's technical problems. They used to have like tape decks and stuff like that. And the people wanted credits against their advertising time and all that stuff. I'm guessing that there's going to be people on the advertising end looking to see that whatever the ads they pay for went up and were aired for the proper amount of time. So if you can give me a clue how that works, that might be helpful.
Absolutely. So that's you're actually looking down our roadmap some here with that question, because we actually are, we just got an investment from Google. And what we're doing is we're building out our AI machine learning. So not only are we flying the advertisers, but we're able to give the advertisers demographic reporting of the type of audience that's looking at it, how long they're looking at the advertisement. So post-flight, they can log into their dashboard. It'll show them what advertisements we're playing at what time, and it'll actually give them the demographic reports up to the audience and how they're engaging with each advertisement.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, we're building this. We like I said, those pain points that I've suffered through early, we literally said we're going to wrap this up and make it as easy for our customers to jump right in, monetize, and be able to answer as many questions for these advertisers as possible.
That is excellent. That just goes back to the old homage for this industry as a whole is data equals money, folks. Data equals cash. That is excellent. That marketing data is really driving the message home.
And to add to that, a majority of that accountability and the advertisements will also come down to the event coordinators, right? So 90% of the time you'll be interfacing with the event organizers, the people that run the Coachellas, the people that are in charge of that. So that'll be part of their also reporting back to them, the ads, making sure everything's played effectively. So it's kind of this redundancy that ensures that the advertisers will be satisfied with the results of the campaign.
Perfect. Let's see. Ron, are you back? You still there? Still no Ron? Yeah, it shows his hand raised and he's unmuted, but he's not popping up. Oh, well. That's strange.
Well, also, they can also, through Chris or whatever, reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer any. If any questions come up after the call that you just hadn't thought about or you just want to ask, you just didn't know how to ask, whatever, I'm available. So, reach out to Chris and he'll connect you, or you just send him the question and he'll send it over to me, whatever works best. And I'm more than happy to continue any offline discussions.
But yeah, Jamar, I greatly appreciate that. We keep in touch fairly often. We talk all the time. I talk to these guys, I don't know, at least weekly, if not daily, to some of these folks. And I know most of them have got to be excited about this product. How about this? Let's do a show of hands. Who would be interested in flying PromoDrone? Who we got? I knew Mashley would be on there. Mac, that's awesome. Ron, hand's still up. I couldn't tell you. James, excellent. Mike, great. Mike, there's a lot of Nikes in Oregon. I'll tell you what. Andrew, you're all in Texas. I mean, there's a lot going on there. That's good stuff right there. Joe's in New Jersey. James, there's tons of schools around North Carolina. We could definitely fly around. Well, hey, let me put my hand up too. I'll tell you what, I want to fly this drone. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. I love going to sports. I'm an NC State guy. I went to Wolfpack and all that stuff. We have some of the best tailgates in the state, if not the country. And got to see this drone there this football season. There's got to be a way for that to make that happen. I'll tell you what, we get in front of those folks, people are going to go wild. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it and getting trained up and getting one myself. So
Yeah, let's get it going. I know with our partnership with Vested Drones, we're excited about getting in as many hands as possible and also helping to find resources to get it in your hands, right? Because I know part of the value prop for Vested Drones is is to try to empower you with this technology at as little cost or as little throughput as needed to get it in your hands. So whatever we can do to help that initiative, whether it's through sponsors, whether it's through helping with fundraising, we're a voice to support your initiative. So we're here to help as many of your veterans on this call get this drone and hopefully not have to come out of their pocket with much money to do it.
that's huge. I greatly appreciate that. We've had our marketing chats and sponsorship chats, and a lot of stuff's moving in the right direction. I tell you what. But yeah, just to reiterate that, folks, Vested Drones is here to help raise the funds necessary so you can have your own PromoDrone and get this as a business-in-a-box solution for you to have as a business. So if you are interested in that, we're going to need you to go ahead and send an email. It'd be better than texting me, or you can either do it on Slack. Jamar, we could invite you to the Slack channel and create a PromoDrone Slack channel as well. And we can get you on that list so we know exactly how many veterans are in the group that are interested in the drone, especially from this webinar right now. And then we'll get you up there, get you trained, and see what we can do to get the funds raised for all of us.
Yep. Sounds
So
good.
send that information over. But I just said it. No, it's so Jamar, do we tell them about Matt and what's going forward there?
Yeah. So I'm not sure how many people have met Matt Torres already. I'm assuming most people on this call, everybody's probably met him. I'm assuming, right? So Matt's he's going to be kind of one of our highlighted pilots to really show what a partnership between our two companies looks like, and ultimately what having a unit like PromoDrone can do for a veteran, right? So we shot a very nice, kind of powerful behind-the-scenes video that gets into Matt's story. We have a campaign that we're setting off to raise funds for him. And the funds that come into that, we're literally going right to getting him his first unit built, getting it in his hands, and letting him be out in the field starting to use it to make money. He becomes kind of the example of what happens when things go right and everything connects the right way, meaning you're a veteran, you have interest in the drone industry, you're being proactive about your career entrepreneurship opportunities, you're taking the steps forward to get the necessary resources to take advantage of it. We fulfill our end by getting you the tech, getting you trained up on it, making sure you have it in your hands, you're ready to rock and roll. So we want as many versions of Matt as possible to come from that. He's kind of he's our first kind of, let's say prototype, so to speak, but we want to use his success as a catalyst to prove that this model works. So we're still very much in the experimentational side of it. We put something together that we think is going to be attractive, and we want to make it work. So Matt's just going to be the first of many, that will kind of take that same path that Ron's asking about. Starts with the inquiry, goes into training, goes into proving that you've got, the skills, that you have the desire, and you have what it takes to become an entrepreneur in this thing. Then you become qualified, so to speak, to be a PromoDrone candidate. Once you go through all of that, then you get put on the list to be, next in line to get your unit. And the fundraising starts. It continues indefinitely until we have enough funds to fund every single person on this call, potentially, to have their own unit. Yeah. Yep, I understand exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We can't really get into that detail at this time just because of certain agreements, but we are working on that, right? So our job, we're not a job fulfillment company, but that's kind of an added value that we'll be bringing as we build those relationships. It's not part of like you buy this and we'll guarantee we can connect you to Coachella, right? But just by the nature of who we are, we're selling not just to pilots, we're selling to those and marketing to those industries as well. And not all of them want to buy the unit outright, but they want to utilize it. But they may not want to build up the staff, the employee base, take over the operational control of having a drone unit be a part of their establishment. They would rather farm that part out, still be able to offer that entire technology, but farm it out to someone that owns the tech or that they a la carte hire as a pilot to fly the tech that they may own. So yes, that'll be part of it, but it's more of an added value. We don't want to make that the number one driver, but that's definitely something that we'll have in our back pocket. That as many, and I can pretty much say this with confidence. There'll be a lot of opportunities that we'll be able to bring to the table for large scale events that are looking for someone that already owns this tech to do it. So I can't really get into the names just because of NDA and until we can make announcements about certain things. But just know that we're definitely focused on having all the bells and whistles kind of dialed in to some degree to make this as easy to set up and get to plug and play as possible.
Who said?
I don't know what a flipper zero is.
They put that in. Man, I gotta find out who said that.
So there's two sides to this, I guess, right? There's the drone, and everything's encrypted, like the standard drone, right? We're no different than a DJI kind of drone, where susceptible to some of the same hacks I would imagine that their drones are, and also have the same protections that those drones have, right? The benefit of the display is there's a couple things. One, it's an encrypted Wi-Fi connection if you want to change the ads remotely, meaning on the fly you want to change the ads. Or you can turn off the Wi-Fi completely and just pre-program the advertisements on it and never have to use the Wi-Fi connection. So you can already have your sponsor and advertisement ads preloaded, and there's literally no access point to it at all. The Wi-Fi is turned off. If you have it turned on, it's literally only creating a one-to-one signal with the app that's on that specific ground station that's connected to that screen, and you have a Wi-Fi encrypted password, so the same as on your home internet security where you have your own encrypted Wi-Fi passwords, right? And again, will some person figure something out that, some maniacal genius wants to try to do something down the road that just is, who knows, right? And that's, if we learn about it, something happens, then we improve upon it kind of deal. So I can't say that would never happen, but we have the same protocols in place that all the commercial technologies that drones have in place, and we're not deviating from that standpoint. And our goal is to continue that wave, making it as secure as possible, invest in cybersecurity, making our thing as unhackable as possible. But there's always somebody out there that figures a way to crack a nut if they really are motivated to do that. But we're not anticipating that being, a big challenge for us.
Yeah, let's hope there aren't too many folks going to sporting events with flippers. That's wild. I know we're a tech group, but dang, mentioning the flipper up here, that's wild. That being said, Jamar, I know a guy in Texas that could fix that if that problem does arise. We'll talk about
and that's where partnerships come in. Problems beget solutions, and solutions beget problems, and vice versa, right? So we'll cross that bridge as we come to it, but we're prepared. But from out of the gate, it's encrypted technology. So
Excellent. Yeah, I like how, like you said, you have the predetermined displays. That's huge. That'd be probably the easiest or the most desirable hack you'd see instead of actually taking over the drone, but hacking the display. Put something weird up there. I mean, why not? You know, you can do it in McDonald's or something. Why not? But yeah, it's good to have that problem already solved. You know, if there's no Wi-Fi connection, done.
Yep.
Right.
Just disable it. I won't be there. I'm actually heading to Winnipeg on Monday. I'm doing a big World Police and Fire games in Winnipeg for 8 days. So it's like the Olympics of public safety. So you get 50,000 public safety officials from all around the world, right? And this year it's hosted in Winnipeg. We'll have a booth there where we're showing off the Commander 3XL and the Starlink. So the whole Starlink unit will be there, co-branded with Dragonfly. So we're doing a 6-day trade show there. Then we'll come back. Then we'll also be at CUAB in Vegas, and we're just making our list for what the next rounds. But we definitely want to show it off as much as possible, but we're still in the lab building on it. So I would say our plan of action are mostly going to be live demos, inviting people out to San Diego, or doing something regionally where we can get folks to come out and check it out, because we're still improving upon it. And the more we show it off, we want to do that continually. Obviously, we also are improving upon it. So we want to spend more time in the lab getting it up to speed. So that means getting our potential customers hands-on, live demos, training, opportunities for them to put it in a real-world use. So you'll probably see a lot more of those before you start to see us mostly at trade shows starting next year, probably beginning of 2024. Yep.
Yeah, I have to ask, what are the odds of covering the Army-Navy game?
I don't know when that is, or I don't have any contact there, but it's what these drones designed to do. So, if you've got the ends there, let's make it happen, Joe.
I like it. That's good ideation right there. I mean, there's somebody on this call or in our group has some connections in that direction. I know 2 off the top of my head I could call. Would be a bit of a challenge, but it would be awesome. You need 2 of them, though. We couldn't do that game with 1 drone. You need at least 2.
Yeah, and when we think about game day coverage, right, we're not talking flying in the stadium during the game, right? We're talking tailgating. We're talking about ticketing. We're talking about parking lot when people are funneling in, how to have an informational platform that they can engage with while they're in kind of downtime, so to speak, or non-game time, right? So before the game, after the game. At some point in the future, there'll be halftime experiences. There'll be things that we can do, promote in the stadium, on field, but we're not really looking at that. We have a crawl, walk, run type philosophy for everything that we do, right? So we're still in that very much crawl aspect where we want to ensure that everything can be done safely, that it can be done consistently, and that it's going to actually bring real value back to our customers. So if we were able to do something like the Army-Navy game, we would want to test it out at, like I said, some of these choke points, so to speak, where people are in line, where they're waiting in their cars, or where they're tailgating, an opportunity for us to hover it and not over people, but in kind of like dead zones. We call them drone zones, so to speak, where nobody's walking under it, but they're walking by it, and they can interact and interface with the drone. Use that to get some good data. Use that for game day feedback, et cetera. So. Yeah, not yet. So so the way the laws are written, as I understand it, is there's different tiers and categories to fly over people. Technically, if you're moving from point A to point B, you can fly over people, just you can't hover over them, right? Like if you're in the course of an operation and you need to go from point A to point B and you're quickly going over something, then that's kind of okay, right? But really what people are asking is, can you hover over people? So that Part 107 says you can hover over people if they're part of the operation, right? At the end of the day, right? So until fans are just, overtly understand that they're part of the operation through some type of ticket purchase where the disclaimers and, the boilerplate says by accepting this ticket, you understand that the drone may fly overhead or something like that. That's kind of how you get around that to some degree. But right now we're just keeping it super simple. We don't fly the drones over people. We keep them in drone zones, and we don't have to worry about that. If we have to fly from point A to point B quickly over a small gap, small group, then that's kind of inherent to the operation. But 99.9% of the time, we're looking at doing operations in controlled lanes where we don't have to fly over people. So you can still do very much what we call patrols, go from point A, point B, back to point A, create these lanes where there are not people walking, and easily accomplish the objective of getting the advertisement out there, getting a lot of people to look at it. One of the biggest drivers of what makes this attractive, not only from the eyes on the people that are on the ground looking at it, is the engagement they have with their cell phones, right? So beyond the QR code, a lot of people just like to record it because it's cool, something they've never seen before, and they share it online. So whatever brand, when you talk about, Joe was asking about how do they know their ads being seen or being played, not only will they know that, but then people that weren't even at the game will get to see your advertisement because of the social reshare. That's a big part of our value prop is the social reshare. People want to pull their cell phones out, take pictures of it, take video of it, post it online, show, this is what we sell at the game. So those advertisements are going to get exponential impressions counts to their ads that they're not even paying for, just by the way of curiosity and the people's social reshare, psychology behind social reshare. So we've tapped into that. We understand that. So, flying over people, we don't even really deal with that at this point, just because until it becomes painfully obvious that, you're approved for it and you can do it, we don't even write that into our kind of course of operations for how to use the platform.
No need for unnecessary complications. Keeping
Exactly.
it simple for the win. I'll tell you what, man, you made a killer right here. This is a
Thank
good
you.
product. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so just the take home is, the drone's bigger than a DJI or something off the shelf. It operates, performs just like one of those drones. It's under 55 pounds, so the same rules apply to our drone as any other drone. And we will be keeping everybody up to date as we get different waivers and authorizations for different things that the drone will be able to do from a regulatory standpoint. So just stay tuned, and we'll make sure that it's heard loud and clear when we can do these other things. So we hear you loud and clear, and we're excited to explore those pathways.
Jamar, I appreciate you coming on to the show today, man. Been a great friend and great partner since we started day one. Been helping us so much behind the scenes. Most of the folks on here don't even understand that, but really, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. It's been about an hour. I'm going to just do a couple of announcements from some of the stuff that happened over the past week, and going to close it quick and early tonight, just because I'm on the side of a highway pretty close to a disaster area, and I need to get out of here. But so just so you guys know or updated, we did get the Truist grant. It came in. We're going to be traveling around doing some training coming up. We also had a donation of some drones, should be coming in within the month before hurricane season. It's designed for hurricane season. So I'll let you guys know about that. We'll be using those drones to train. The One Tree Planted project is still rolling smoothly. Trevor Van Dyke's coming across the country to do some sites in Pennsylvania. There's some South Carolina, Florida sites. And there'll be some more sites on the West Coast popping up soon. Airborne Alamo is still hiring over on the Southwest. If you're interested and able to travel it's mostly oil and gas, solar and wind farms for Airborne Alamo right now. Please reach out if you're interested in that. Bird's Eye Aerial Drones just announced that they're hiring again. One of our guys just got a call today about that. If you're interested in that job opportunity, please let us know. That's what I have off the top of my head with a dead laptop and being in a car. So apologize for my situation. We just got a random call for this tornado that hit locally. But yeah, I appreciate all of you, of course, every week coming on and joining us here. I look forward to seeing you all in person soon as we come around and travel and train. And Jamar, as always, man, it's been a good time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your service and everything that you do. So looking forward to a continued partnership.
Thanks, Jamar.
Okay.
All right, folks. You guys have a good one. Let me know if you need anything. I'm just a text away. Peace.